Well, today is All Souls Day. It's an important day for those who were raised in the Catholic tradition because it's a day to pray for the souls that are in purgatory. The idea is that the prayers and good works of the living can help shorten the time souls spend in purgatory, helping them to achieve the holiness needed to enter heaven. But many people, even those not of strict Catholic doctrine, use this day to reflect on and honor their deceased friends and family. And that may all be fine and well, but you might be wondering what that has to do with a text written by Paul while he was under house arrest in Rome. It's the opening of a letter he wrote to the congregation in Philippi after receiving a gift from them. And although it's a letter from a living person written to other people who were alive, I was struck by how appropriate its opening phrase is for today. I thank God for every remembrance of you. It calls to my mind the Disney Pixar film Coco, based on the premise that when someone is forgotten by the living, they face the final death and disappear completely from the colorful and joy-filled land of the dead. The final death is something that can only be avoided through the continued memory and storytelling from the living. But for many people, the idea of commingling joyful memories with tears of grief seems too difficult. It's true that you have to sit with grief. You can't rush it, and it takes as long as it takes. But you can get stuck in grief, and gratitude can help you to heal. Gratitude isn't about dismissing grief. It's the act of being thankful you got to know a person and be with them during your lifetime. It's okay to not say, I'm grateful this happened, and still hold gratitude for the relationship, the life, and the love you experienced because of them. Gratitude can be a healing balm on the raw wound of grief. But you can't skip grief. You still have to go through the process. So let me offer a few things about grief. First, it's not orderly. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross popularized the 6 stages of grief in 1969. They are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. But they are not a sequential checklist. A person can be in more than one stage at a time and can bounce from one stage to another and back. There is no set pattern. The important thing is to give yourself some grace and to just be. Second, people will tell you the goal should be to get over your grief as soon as possible. The truth is, you never get over it, but you learn to live with it and integrate it into your life and the fabric of your being. As you work through grief, you become more reconciled to it. Third, it's a myth that nobody can help you with your grief. The most compassionate thing that you can do for yourself is to reach out to others for help. Not everyone, though, will be emotionally available for you. That's to be expected. So look for someone with whom you can share your pain and your memories. Sharing your pain with others won't make it disappear, but over time, it will make it bearable. And finally, when grief and mourning are reconciled, don't think they will never come up again. Grief comes out in waves. There are times when you will have intense periods of sadness. It can be as simple as a sound, a smell, or a phrase that sets you off. But at some point, your grief will no longer dominate your life, and you will be thankful for those recognizable moments. At some point, you come to realize that your tears are evidence of your connection with and your love for the person, and you will be thankful. At some point, memories will no longer slash your soul, but will lighten the weight of your grief. Your memories will remind you of the love that you shared with the person, and you will be thankful. At some point, you will recall the love you felt, a love that will live forever, one that binds you to the person you are currently grieving, and you will be thankful. And at some point, you will be thankful for friends, the ones who didn't walk away because they were too uncomfortable, too afraid to see your broken heart. You will be thankful for the ones who simply sat with you and didn't try to fix you. Gratitude can take different forms. You can sit in the quietness and reflect on the good times you shared with that person. Or you can participate in a ritual as an act of gratitude. You'll have an opportunity later in today's worship service to do just that. Or you can perform an act of loving kindness, an act of compassion in honor of the person. Within the Jewish tradition, that's called Chesed Shalemis, which literally means true loving kindness. Some examples of Chesed Shalemis are regularly visiting the gravesite to tend to it and say prayers, donating to charities or causes that were important to the deceased, sharing stories and memories to keep the person's legacy alive, and making donations in memory of the deceased to organizations for the poor and for nonprofit hunger initiatives. These are ways to show our gratitude for the person who is no longer with us in body, but remains with us in spirit. These are ways to honor them. These are ways to begin to heal from the sense of loss you're feeling. In his letter to the Philippians, Paul wrote, "I am confident of this, that the one who began a good work in you will continue it until the day of Jesus Christ." Our acts of loving kindness done in remembrance of our loved one is a way of continuing the good works that were begun in them. Were they animal lovers? Then volunteer or make a donation to an animal shelter. Were they nature lovers? Then plant a tree. Did they enjoy eating out? Then donate to a food pantry. Did they like to read? Then volunteer at the Friends of the Library event coming up in a couple of weeks. These are all ways of showing our gratitude for someone who began a good work while they were still alive. There are ways of honoring them, and there are ways to begin the healing process in yourself. May the love that shaped the lives of those who have gone before you flow through you. And may the God who began a good work in them carry it forward through you until all creation is made whole in love. Amen.